Shalom, and thank you for joining us for another half-hour Hebrew class. And today's lesson will be on Yehochanan, which is John 13, verses 16 to 20. And so let us now begin. First, we show you the Nikud, or the valve markings, with some useful resources for anyone who's relatively new to this half-hour lesson that we have each week on Shabbat. And of course I have there also to show you roughly how to use the vowels. So let us begin. And the first one we see, to determine what the numerical value, we know that Tet is the 9th letter of the alphabet, and so it's given a value of 9, and Zion is the 7th letter, given a value of 7. So we know we're beginning in verse 16. So let's just quickly go through the letters. Aleph, Mem, Nun Sofit, Aleph, Mem, Nun Sofit, Aleph, Nun, Yod, Aleph, Mem, Resh, Lamed, Kaf, Mem Sofit, Aleph, Yod, Nun Sofit, Hey, Ayin, Vayet, Dalet, Gimel, Dalet, Vav, Lamed, Mem, Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yod, and Vav. And now let's read it. And we begin, Amen. And sometimes, because it's a longer E sound, you'll see the Jews will say Amen, because they're dragging out the E. So it's Amen, Amen, which is truly, truly. Like we say at the end of a prayer, Amen. It means truly, or it means so be it. And then we have Ani, I am, Omer, that's like a form of a participle, so it's translated as saying, I'm saying, La, Kem, to you, Kem is plural you, Ein, not, Ha-eved, not the servant, Gadol, meaning great or greater, so therefore is greater. And then we have Me'adonayev, Adonayev, from, that's the Mem, his is the Vav at the end, master, which is of course Adon. Right, so the English is, truly, truly I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master. And down here I've got avad, which is a kal verb to work, to function, to serve. And from that root we get aved, which is a masculine noun for slave, servant, serf, or bondsman. Right, now let us read that. Amen, amen, ani omer lakem ein ha-eved gadol me'adonayev. Right, now we're moving to part B, and of course we begin with the letters Vav, Aleph, Yod, Nun, Sofit, Hey, Shin, Lamed, Yod, Chet, Gimel, Dalet, Vav, Lamed, Mem, Shin, Lamed, Chet, Vav. Now let's just quickly look at some of this. The vowel here, when it's this vowel, it's always before the letter, whereas all the other vowels come after it. And of course with the Vav, we've got an O sound there, not a Vav sound. And this dot here is not telling us it's a sin. It should be slightly over. That's why I put the arrow there, so that you know it's actually the vowel mark. It's not telling us whether it's a shin or sin. So, now let's quickly read that. The ein, and not, ha-shaliach, which is the sent one, because it's got the word shalak in the middle. Down here I've got shaliach, is a masculine noun meaning messenger, emissary, delegate, courier, herald, or envoy. So the sent one. Of course, in the Greek we use apostle. And then we have gadol, mean great or greater. Me shol cho, from his sending one. From his sending one, because it's like a participle meaning sending. Right? And it's from his sending one. Greater than his master, from the previous verse, nor is the one sent greater than the one who sent him. Right, now let's read that. Ve'ein ha-shaliach gadol me shol cho. Right, now we turn to verse 17. And we see it represented by Yod, has a value of 10, Zion value of 7, so we get 17. Then we have an Aleph, a Mem Sofit, a Yod, a Dalet, an Ayin, which is in white, meaning it's silent. And then we have a Tav, Mem Sofit, Zion, and then we have an Aleph, which is in white, so it's silent again. Tav, Aleph, Shin, Resh, Yod, Kaf, Mem Sofit, Bayet, Ayin, Sin, because the dot's on that side, Vav, but it's an O sound, Tav, Kaf, and Mem Sofit, and then we have a Kaf and a Nun Sofit. So let's read it. Im, which can mean if. Yadatem, tem is plural for you, so you know, right? You know, or you do know. Zot, this. Ashreikem, blessed are you, right? Blessed are you. If we look down here, Ashrei is an interjection which can mean happy, overjoyed, or blessed. Ba'asot kem, ba'asot kem, in you doing. So the sot is like a participle, a sot, right? In you doing, right? So in you doing, can, so. If you know this, you are blessed in your doing so. Right, now let's read that. And we have im yadatem zot ashreikem ba'asot kem ken. So of course the root word here is asa, right? Asa, meaning to do, literally, right? Okay, now we turn to 18 and we have a yod, value of 10, chet, value of 8. And we have a lamed, aleph, ayin, lamed, kaf, lamed, kaf, mem sofit, dalet, bayet, resh, tav, yod, yod, vav, dalet, ayin, aleph, nun, yod, aleph, tav, aleph, shin, resh, bayet, chet, resh, tav, yod, vayet, kaf, and mem sofit. So now let's read it. Lo, meaning not. Al, which can mean about or concerning. Kul kem. Kul is all. Kul kem means all of you. About all of you. Not about all of you. Dibarti. I spoke. Or I've spoken. Yodea. Knowing, or the one knowing. Or, knowing is the best translation there because it comes from yada, right, to know. So we know that's where it comes from. And it's like a participle. Knowing, ani, I, et, grammar marker, asher, which can be whom, because it can be that which, whom. But in context, whom is suitable there. Bacharti, I chose. Again, the pronouns, the end, I chose. All right? But bachar means to choose. Down here I put in here, noda is a verb to become known. That's, of course, based on this one, yodea. This is noda, which means to become known, and we got yada, which is a called verb to know, to be aware. And then we have vakem, which literally is in you or among you. I was not speaking about all of you. I know whom of you I have chosen. So now we read that without any help of the transliteration. Lo al kulekem dibarti yodea ani et asher bacharti vakem. And now part B. And we have an aleph, and a kaf sofit, lamed, mem, ayin, nun sofit, yod, mem, lamed, aleph, hey, kaf, tav, vav, vet, aleph, vav, kaf, lamed, lamed, chet, mem, yod, hey, gimel, dalet, yod, lamed, ayin, lamed, yod, ayin, kuf, and vet. Now let's read. Ak, which can mean but, or although. Le ma'an, so that, ye malay, shall be fulfilled, because the word malay means to fill up, to fulfill, in other words. And the yod is like future, so shall be fulfilled. Ha katuv, the writing. Okel, he eating. Lach me, my bread. We know lechem means bread. So if we look down here, lechem is a masculine noun for bread. But just out of interest, I also put here lacham, which looks very similar, but it's a different word. It's a kal verb meaning to fight, to battle, to struggle. So I'm just throwing that in just so you can see that the different vowels will change a word. So my bread, and then it's hig deal. So we can see I've got here lifted up, and its root again is gadol. So if we look down here, gadol is a verb to make great, to magnify, to bring up, and to boast. So to bring up, to lift up. So it's the same thing, to boast, to magnify oneself, So the one who ate my bread lifted up, and then it's alai. Alai can be against, as well, against me. Akev. Akev meaning his heel, because that's where we get the word akev from, right? And that's also where the name Yaakov comes from the heel, because remember, he's a heel grabber, right? I have chosen, but it is so that the scripture may be fulfilled. He who eats my bread has lifted up his heel against me. And you'll find that is a quote from David, one of his psalms, when Ahithophel sort of went across to Absalom, and he was a friend of King David. All right, so now we're going to read that, which is Ak le ma'an yi malay ha katuv okel lach mi hig deal alai akev. And now we got 19a, and it's represented with the yod value of 10 and a tet value of 9, and then we have a mem ayin tav hey, aleph nun yod, aleph mem resh, lamed kaf, mem sofit. Bet, tet, resh, mem sofit. Hey, yod, vav, tav, hey. Lamed, mem, ayin, nun sofit. Tav, vayet, aleph. Now let's read it. Me, a, ta. From, that's the mem, from now. Because we know that at means like time, right? But when we look that up in the dictionary, ata, it more or less means currently or now. From now, ani, I am, omer, saying, because it's like a participle with the cholam up there, right? Saying, lakem, to you, beterem. Beterem. Now, if we look down here, terem is an adjective for before, not yet, prior to. So we could almost say in prior, or, so it's normally translated just as before. And then we have he yota. And the hey at the end with the dagesh in it is like it. Right, so, and heyot, literally it comes from, down here we've got heyot is a noun for being, existence. As a conjunction, it can also be used as sense in as much as. So it's got to do with being, right? It shall be. And then it is le ma'an, so that tavo. And then I've put here, it may come, because literally it's may come without a pronoun. And normally, if there's no pronoun, it would be he. But of course, we're talking about a time. So therefore, it's it may come. Now I'm telling you before it happens so that it may come. So let's read that. Me ata ani omer lakem beterem heyota lema'an tavo. And part B, we have a vav, tav, aleph, mem, yod, nun, vav. Kaf, yod, aleph, nun, yod. Hey, vav, aleph. So remember that pronouns are generally at the end of the word. So there we get here, v, ta, mi, nu. So, and, that's the vav. Ta meaning like a future, right? And the u at the end is you. So you may, and then we've got amin in the middle. He amin is a verb to believe, and the he is dropped off because it's a weak letter. If we remember those sort of rules, and you may believe, ki, that, ani, I am, who, he. He. And you shall believe that I am he. Right, now we just read that. V, ta, mi, nu. Ki, ani, who. And finally we're up to 20. It's represented with a kaf, which has a value of 20. Then the letters are aleph, mem, nun, safit. Aleph, mem, nun, safit. Aleph, nun, yod. Aleph, mem, resh. Lamed, kaf, mem, safit. Kaf, yod, kaf, lamed. Hey, mem, kuf. Bayet, lamed. Aleph, tav. Aleph, shin, resh. Now let's read it. Amen. Amen. Ani. Oh, sorry, I should tell you what it means. Amen means truly, truly. Ani meaning I am. Omer, saying. Lakem, to you. Ki, that. Kol. Now, that's a tricky one. Why is it kol? If we look down here, kol is a preposition. It means all, every, any, entire. And the reason it's an O sound rather than an A sound, which you would have thought with the kataf, is that an O sound, because the sound, it is an O sound for an unaccented closed syllable. And a closed syllable is where there's no vowel past the second letter. And an unaccented one is usually, or pretty well always, the first, right? Therefore, the first syllable. And that's why we know it's kol, hum, kabel, all receiving. If we look here, kibel is a PL verb to receive, to get, to have. So all the ones having or receiving, all the ones receiving, et grammar marker, asher, whom. Truly, truly, I say to you that whoever receives whomever. All right, now let's read that. Amen, amen, ani, omer, lakem, ki, kol, hum, kabel, et asher. All right, then we turn to part B. And we have on the left, shin, lamed, chet. Aleph, tav, yod, mem, kuf, bet, lamed, vav, hey, mem, kuf, bet, lamed. Aleph, tav, yod, mem, kuf, bet, lamed. Aleph, tav, shin, lamed, chet, yod. Again, the arrow's there to tell you that dot should be a little bit over, not to confuse you, right? So it is eshlach, eshlach. So from the previous one, whomever receives whomever, and then we've got the aleph, meaning is the few times that you see the pronoun at the front. I shalach, I send. Ot, me, mekabel, receives. Me receives, or receives me in the English. The hum kabel, and the one who receives, ot, me, mekabel, receives, et shol chi, meaning my sending one, or the one sending me. Literally it means my sending one, because it's got shalach and it's sholach, so it's like sending me. So they normally translate the one sending me. Receives whomever I send receives me, and he who receives me receives the one who sent me. And let's read that. Eshlach oti mekabel v'ham kabel oti mekabel et sholchi. Right. And now we are already up to our revision, and I'm hoping that we can get through it and we can translate it as we go along. For those who are more experienced, that's what the revision is. Amen, amen. Truly, truly. Ani, I am Omer saying, lakem to you, and not ha'eved, the servant. Gadol is greater, me'adonayev, from his master. From his, right? Truly, truly, I am saying to you, not the servant is greater from or than his master. Ve'en, and not ha shaliach, the sent one, gadol, greater, mi sholcho, from his sending one, or from the one who sent him. And not the sent one, the apostle, greater from his sending one. And then we have Yod 10, Zion 7. So here we get 17. If yadatem, you do know, zot this, ashreikem, you are blessed, ba'asotkem, in your doing, ken, so. So, if you know this, blessed are you in you doing so. And then we have Yod 10, Chet 8. So we're in 18. Lo, not al, meaning about or concerning, kulakem, all of you, di bar ti, I've spoken. Yodia, knowing, ani, I, et asher, whom, bacharti, I've chosen, vakem, among you. Not about all of you I spoke, knowing I, grammar marker, whom I chose among you. Ak, but, le ma'an, so that ye male shall be fulfilled. Ha katuv, meaning the writing, translated often as the scripture, right? Which basically says, O kel, eating, or the one eating lach, me, my bread, hig dil, meaning has lifted up or magnified or made high, alay, against me, or over me, a kev, his heel. So translated, but so that shall be fulfilled the writing, he eating my bread, lifted up against me his heel. Then we have a Yod 10, Tet 9. So we're in 19. Me'ata, from now, right? Ata is now. Ani, I am Omer saying, lakem to you, beterem, meaning before, in prior, or just before is best way. He yota, it shall be. La ma'an, so that tavo, it may come, or it shall come. From now I am saying to you, before it shall be, so that it may come, or it shall come. And then we have the ta'aminu, and you shall believe. Ki, that, ani, I am, who, he. And you may believe that I am he. And we have a calf value of 20. Amen, amen, which is truly, truly. Ani, I am Omer saying, lakem to you, ki, that, kol, all, hum, kabel, the ones receiving, all the ones receiving, et, grammar marker, asher, whom, truly, truly, I'm saying to you that all receiving, all the ones receiving, grammar marker, whom, esh lach, I send, oti, me, kabel, from receiving, or just receiving, right? The ham kabel, and the one receiving, oti, me, kabel, receives, et sholchi, my sending one, or the one who sent me. I send, me receives, or receives me, And the one who receives me receives the one sending me. All right, very good. That brings us, of course, to the vowel marks again, and we want to keep practicing them so when we see them, we actually know what they're called. So when there's a dot above the letter, it's called a cholam. So it gives us the idea it's an O sound, cholam. And this is more or less, it gives us the different syllables. So it's a shiva. It can be silent, but it can also be vocal. And then we have a segol, which is short E sound. Then we have a zere, which is the longer E sound. Often transliterated as EI, but I would prefer it to be EY, but it's a longer E sound if we just remember that, because it's zere, zere. So it sounds longer. And then we have this one, it's called a ptak. So it's a short A sound, pa. And this is a kamat, longer A sound. Okay, that will do. We'll do the top line. And of course we have done 16 to 20. So we know there was a combination, right? Combination for 16, which was 9 and 7 to make 16, which is a more difficult sort of way of looking at it. So 9 and 16. But then when it went to 17, it was just Yod, 10, and of course Zion, which was 7. So use those. And then Yod and Chet 18, Yod and Tet 19. Right, and let us not forget the ones down the bottom, which we don't see much, but let's remember that a Tav has a value of 400, a Shin has a value of 300, a Resh has a value of 200, and a Kuf a value of 100. And again, I've repeated the resources, and I do hope you use them because they are very useful in reading. And because those resources, especially this one, it's compiled by Messianics, but they've gone right through the entire scriptures, giving us the ancient Hebrew, the modern Hebrew, the transliteration. Then they've given us the Greek as well and its transliteration and so on. So it's a very good source. And I do wish you were blessed as you go through these lessons and you just get inspired to learn more Hebrew. And we've been doing it for a few years now, and it's really helping us as we look into the scriptures to just see if we can discover a little bit more than the translations give us. So we thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you again. Goodbye.